everybody, what's growing on? I'm Angie, the plant-loving mom, and I love plants. I love to eat plants, I love to grow plants, and I hope to inspire you to eat more plants and grow more plants. Today, I decided that I wanted to plant a mini indoor garden under my grow lights with some of my favorite vegetables, and I bought this Jiffy seed starting greenhouse. I got this at the Home Depot. This is not sponsored, this is just what I did today. So before this video, I poured water into here, and it comes with these dry, flat, little seed starting pellets that look like this. But because it takes a while for them to expand, I did that ahead of time. And so now they look like this. I have grown in these successfully before, so I'm going to show you what I do. So this is very important. This will become the lid of your greenhouse and will help your baby seeds germinate. Oops, that's upside down. This is Jiffy brand. I'm going to set that off to the side. Okay, so I've already decided what I'm going to grow. I am going to grow these wax beans. They are similar to a green bean, but a little bit milder and sweeter, and our family likes those better than green beans, so we're going to grow those. Another point was that green beans and that type of bean have a lot of pesticides on them, and so you should always eat organic on that vegetable. Collards. Collards are another great vegetable to grow. They are awesome in smoothies, and you can cook them or put them in a salad. All good options. Can't go wrong with a collard. I bought these beets. I love to eat beet greens. I can put them in smoothies or cook them down. I also like to eat beets. If you put the beet root in a smoothie, it turns it bright red. It's kind of an intense flavor, so try it if you want. If you have a Vitamix, you can put it in raw. It's kind of interesting, but I really liked it. Let's see here. And you could pickle these as well. I like to do a quick refrigerator pickle recipe that I will show you another day. The other thing that I'm choosing to try to grow today is sweet peppers. I am successfully growing jalapenos in my arrow garden, but we have some people who don't like spicy, so we're going to try to grow these. I haven't ever grown these inside, but I have grown them outside, and we're gonna give it a shot. I also am going to grow spinach and a little bit of Swiss chard. I like to cut this when it's at the baby stage and put it in my smoothies. And iceberg lettuce. That is another great thing. It's a humble vegetable, but it actually contains a lot of nutrition. It gets a bad rap, but it's good. It offers a nice crunch to your salad. So this packet for these wax beans says that you can plant 5 plants per a 12-inch container. And I plan to do just one 12-inch container under my grow lights. My husband is actually building me another set of shelves with more grow lights for our basement, and that's probably where we'll grow these once they're mature plants. But for now, they're going to start in the grow lights that I have in my living room. And if you want to see more what that looks like, I will post a link to that video at the end, and you can check that out. I've done a walkthrough in that garden already. Okay. So I'm going to do 5 of these. So the first thing to do is I know that I'm going to put 2 seeds in each pellet. So I'm going to get 10 seeds out. I was reading the Victory Garden from 1943 Leader's Handbook, and one thing that they said in there that you don't want to waste seeds, because at that time it was important to grow victory gardens so that the food could be sent overseas. So I am going to take their lesson, and I'm going to remind you not to waste your seeds. You can save these and grow another crop when you're done. You can grow a crop outside in the summer. There's so many options for these, so you don't want to waste your seeds. I think the concept of victory gardens is amazing, and I want to bring that back a little bit. So this summer, I'd like to plant a victory garden outside. But what better way to start is by growing a victory garden inside and producing some of my own food. Did you know that food is actually freshest when it comes off the vine? It actually loses nutrients every day that it's off. So when you grow your food, you're getting the most nutritious version of the food that you can. Also, you know, there's no pesticides on it or other chemicals that have been out there. And I have bought all organic seeds, so we're off to a great start. The organic seeds are just pennies more, less than $1 more even on some of the more expensive ones, but it's really worth it. And you get a lot out of a seed packet, so definitely go for the organic. So what I'm doing here is I am loosening this dirt. And this is actually peat. It's a lightweight material and it's great for starting seeds. I also like to mix peat in when I have a bigger container because it's lightweight and it retains moisture well. Okay, so I've fluffed up the peat. Then I'm gonna take these 2 seeds and I plop them in and I just cover them with a little bit of the peat. And then we're gonna do the next one. So again, open it up a little bit, fluff it, see, looks like that. Now I'm gonna take the 2 seeds, can you see those? They look like this. And I'm gonna put both in. You feel free to leave me a comment about what your favorite vegetables are to grow, and I would love to hear that. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want more, subscribe to my channel. I am a new YouTuber, but I plan to produce a lot of videos about gardening and eating more plants. I also love houseplants and have a million of them. So if you want to check out some more of those videos, I'll put a link at the end. Okay, here's another one, and I have one more. So this one's a little bit more flat. We just kind of want to raise it up, make sure it's all spread out. Kind of spread it out like this. Oops, I lost a little peat. If a little comes out, just put it back in. Put your beans in there and close it up. All right, the next thing I am going to plant is my collards. So I have these. These get pretty tall. You can only put 1 plant in a 12-ounce container. These are 65 days to harvest. So it's the middle of winter right now. I actually bought all these supplies in the middle of a blizzard because I live in zone 5 and it is cold here right now in January. But this is a great project. Also, these beans will be ready to harvest in 55 to 60 days. I forgot to mention that. So here are the collards. Again, I'm just going to put 2 seeds in each peat, and because I'm only planting 2 collard plants, I'm just going to get out 4 seeds. Well, I actually got out a few more than 4 seeds, but let me just put some back. Don't be afraid to put your seeds back in the pouch. Okay. So I put my collard seeds back. I have the right number, and we'll just keep going. We're going to open this up, fluff it a little. Now these seeds are very tiny. The bean seeds were huge comparatively. These seeds are only, oops, I lost one. They're really tiny. And so on the tinier ones, I don't poke the hole as deep. I put them really close. I basically just set them on top and then push them down a little bit with my finger because I lost my seed. I gotta get a new one. That happens. All right, so take that all the way off. So I'm just going to put, that one's got 3 little seeds. These are so tiny, that's probably a good number anyway. Okay. So here we go. putting these seeds in. And there we go. Pat those down. Now, on the back of this kit, for the first time, they give you this nifty little chart, and I am going to fill it in as I go so that I do not lose track of where I am at. So, I am going to put the first 5 that are closest to me as beans. Okay, and then I have collards here. Now I am going to do my pepper plants. So I am just going to fluff these up again and get those ready. So I'm putting my seeds in, and these ones are light, so I will just be putting them closer to the surface. With the beans, I like to cover them, poke the hole deeper, simply because they're bigger. You really don't need a lot of dirt covering, but you do want a little because it signals like the hormones in the plant to produce and to grow. They need a little bit of dark when they're starting. They don't need a lot of dark, just a little. Okay, so I have my peppers, and I'm gonna put that down. It's good to always label where you're at, mark where you're at, so that you keep track. Otherwise, you might get lost and think you're growing one thing, but really be growing another. Actually, last summer, my kids were helping me in my little greenhouse that I have, and someone knocked over a tray, and we thought we were growing a cantaloupe, and after it started growing, we realized it was actually one of our zinnia plants that we had grown. So always good to label as best as you can, but sometimes stuff happens, especially if you have little kids helping you, and you know what, it's okay. Just relax and enjoy it, because you want to teach the next generation to be growing food, because planting and growing food is really good for our environment, it's good for the bees, it's good for our ecosystem, and really, we should be growing a lot more plants. They produce oxygen, they absorb carbon dioxide. Plants are pretty much amazing. Okay, now that you heard my little spiel about how plants are amazing and we should be growing more of them, I am going to start planting my beet plants. Beet seeds are really interesting looking. I really like the way they look. I'll have to take a picture and put some in. It's really hard to show you, but they're kind of shrivelly, and they just kind of look like, almost like a peppercorn maybe, like a whole black peppercorn. So, and for my beets, these seeds are pretty big. I'm going to put 2 in each one. I also really enjoy birds, and last summer I had some pots of beets growing. I actually used grow bags, which are awesome, and I highly recommend them. My plants were really happy in them. But the little goldfinches would come and sit on the edge, and they would nibble on the beet leaves, and you know, my beets still turned out fine. I still got plenty of beet leaves, but it was really sweet to see the pretty goldfinches sitting there. I also love Bumble Bees. Bumble Bees are my favorite, and last summer I grew tons of flowers for them and plants, but one thing that I was surprised to find out that they liked was they like the flowers when a broccoli plant goes to flower. So I grew a little bit of extra broccoli last year just for the bees, and they were really happy, and I got to watch them every day. I study biology, and honestly, I just love watching bees. I know that's crazy, but I just love it. Especially those fluffy, big, wobbly bumblebees. Those are awesome. But I also got a lot of other varieties of bees, including green bees, large dark bees. I actually increased my numbers of butterflies in my yard as well, if you're interested in butterflies. I love butterflies. I had a bunch of monarchs, but I also had tiger swallowtail and zebra swallowtail, and I am absolutely looking forward to growing outside again so that I can see more bees and birds and butterflies. Also, it's a good idea on your outdoor plants to not cut them back all the way in the fall, because birds and bees, or birds, not bees, birds and other little animals use them for shelter. And they nibble on the seeds that are left. It helps the little animals out. And I enjoy doing that. I like to watch the little critters. We live between a couple major rivers in our area, and we get a lot of wildlife through our backyard. In the summer, the sandhill cranes come to visit. I actually am in a suburban area, so it's a little bit unusual to have all this wildlife in my backyard, but I love having the deer. Also, the name of my channel is Plant Living Mom, so if you don't know anything about me, I have 5 kids, ages 4 to 11, and you might hear them in the background from time to time. They're a fun bunch of kids, and I really love them a lot. I love teaching them about plants. We are going to be doing spinach next, and I am going to do 12 spinach seeds because even my pickiest eater will eat spinach. I love fresh vegetables. I love all sorts of them. And it's fun to try to grow new things. So just because you haven't grown it before doesn't mean you shouldn't start. Just give it a try. If something keeps failing a bunch of times, maybe you don't have the best environment for it. But otherwise, certainly give it a try. For instance, like at my house, I have successfully grown cucumbers many times at our old house, but at the house that we live in now, I just haven't quite found the right spot. I've had them fail a couple of times, and I'm not sure if I'm going to grow cucumbers this year, or if I have a good spot, I'm have to evaluate and try again. But I've tried a couple of times, and the yield isn't what it's been in the past. So if something keeps failing, you might want to reconsider. But if it fails once, it could have been you. It could have been the year. It could have been an animal that got at it. There's a lot of different possibilities. So don't let something not working out discourage you, because you will get better as a gardener. I promise. If you keep putting the effort in to it, you will learn, you will grow, and you will get better, so don't be discouraged. I also love science and experimenting, so there's so many different cool ways to grow plants inside, and especially grow lights are pretty common these days. You can get them on Amazon. I can provide you a link of the ones specifically that I bought. I installed them under a shelf on my plant wall in the living room. All right, so I'm going to do the Swiss chard next, just because the seeds of Swiss chard actually look really similar to the seeds of a beet. I've got the seeds, I put them in, pinch it a little bit. That's kind of just a fast way to close it. And the last one that I'm going to do is the iceberg lettuce. It is important to put the lid on when you're finished. That helps the seeds germinate. You put the lid on, just like this. Now, in order to help me remember which side is the front, I've borrowed these stickers from my daughter, and I am going to peel one off, and I'm going to stick it right down here on the front. That way, I will know. You need to water these when they look dry, but having the lid on will actually help a lot with that, because the moisture kind of stays in a little bit of a closed system. Once the plants are growing, you don't want them to hit this cover, so then once they're getting taller, you would take this out, and then eventually you'll need to transplant these into something else to continue growing. And I will do more on that in another video. Well, everyone, I'd like you to remind you to be like this Stegosaurus and eat more plants. Also, keep growing, everybody. See ya.